they stay true to the whole gamer aspect of it. He's a true gamer. So of course he's going to be toxic from time to time, and of course he's going to make snide little remarks to some people or even to NPCs or something like that.
Yeah.
And the things he does with his buddies and everything, just poking fun at each other. I get it, but at the same time, I'm just like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Right. The next show and the last show we'll be talking about today is Shangri-La Frontier Season 2.
I go
This show's
from
fun.
loving this show to I go from loving this show to getting annoyed by the main character sometimes. His
Yeah.
personality sometimes I'm just like, "Oh my god, could you stop? Could you just stop?" But I mean, I get it. They stay true to the whole gamer aspect of it. He's a true gamer. So of course he's going to be toxic from time to time, and of course he's going to make snide little remarks to some people or even to NPCs or something like that.
Yeah.
And the things he does with his buddies and everything, just poking fun at each other. I get it, but at the same time, I'm just like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And I love the whole thing that he's a variety gamer. So like
Mm.
it's weird for him to have a main game for a long period of time, and like he'll just pop into another game, and like other you're like, hey, he's back, and he's like, no, I'm just here for a couple matches. I just need a break.
Yeah, this isn't my current game I'm
Yeah,
playing, but I kind of felt like I needed a break from it for a little while.
yeah. So, um, yeah, it's like where do we even start with this one? There's so much going on with it.
See, here's the problem. I don't. I watched it back when the first season came out, but I stopped watching it, and then only recently in the last like 2 weeks did I pick it back up and go all the way through to where it currently is now. So
Yes.
I don't really know where season one and season two really end. To me, it's all just one big thing going through.
Yeah. So I think I just watched everything in the last week, so my brain's just stuffed. Um, and I'm like, I gotta
Mm.
sift through all this information. Um,
Well, the problem is I think okay, so this is a really solid
yes.
series. I will say because the gripes that I had from previous ones, I don't have for this one. I think this one excels at where the other ones had. So the pacing is great.
Yes.
The pacing is solid, it's smooth, it's great. I feel like it takes its time where it needs to and everything. Occasionally I think it bogs down a little bit. I think when he was facing those crystal scorpions or
Yeah.
whatever, I was like, we're really spending the entire episode just facing crystal scorpions? What the hell?
Yeah.
I could have done without that. But for the most part, I say everything else is pretty solid as far as that goes. Um,
It's one of those things where it's like if I don't see a reason why a show kind of harps on a certain moment, um, it it detracts from it. But because it's
mhm.
like a gamer thing, and it's like he's stuck on this one, like he wants to get this one thing, and depending on how stubborn of a gamer he is, the next week might be just dedicated to this, and it's like, oh, I've been there.
Yeah.
I can't beat
I
Mario
mean,
level 8, and we've spent like a whole weekend on it.
yeah. I get it. That's what I'm saying. I get his personality
Yes.
too. I just sometimes, as far as his show goes, I'm just
Mm.
like, oh, come on. I want to get to the next part. Why are we still stuck on doing this right
Mm.
now? It's so ridiculous. Um, But I feel like the progression is
Mm.
solid. I feel like, it moves in the way that it should. And I really like the lore and the story behind the
Mm.
scenes. I like that we're trying to explore and figure out everything that's going on. I even like the little tidbits where we go to the actual makers of the game and see them arguing over, like, why did you buff this boss up, or why are they defeating this boss when they should have defeated this boss first, kind of situation.
Yes.
So that just is always fun and intrigues me.
Mm.
And I like the fact that, like you said before, he goes to different games, but I like the fact that the characters in one game he can meet in Shangri-La Frontier.
Yes. Yes.
So we have a nice crossover, and it doesn't feel like the secondary games that he plays are detracting. It feels like they're just adding to it because he either figures something out or someone from that game he meets up with later on.
Yes. I would say the and it's more real to life. Like I would say the
Mm-hmm.
like the situation that played out the best in is the robot fighting game. Like for the current situation that's happening right now, it's like he was stuck. He kind of just finished the battle. He needed a break. He gets out of a game, goes battles with one of his rivals from like a couple months ago or something like that. And basically, they're like, "Oh yeah, we're playing the game too, and we found this secret thing that like they're not telling anybody because they're kind of isolated in their own little world where they're like, oh, we just played this game, we found out something interesting, and then we went back to our other main game. So it's not like everybody who plays that game is also deep into the community and it shares all the information. It's like there's probably some people who have like entered the game, found some secret thing that nobody's ever found before, and then just left the game and never told anybody. So it was kind of interesting seeing that
Yeah.
there's this piece of information that the main character could really use, and he would have never found. Well, he wouldn't have found it out then unless he went to play this other game with other people that he used to play with. So
Mm-hmm.
it's it's
Oh, for sure.
it's it's very very interesting how it like mimics real life. Yeah.
100%. And the characters themselves. I enjoy each of the characters.
Yes.
They all have their nice, distinct personalities. They, like you said before, they mirror real life very well when it comes to gamers and their personalities. So
Yeah.
NPCs are very distinct, even though we keep finding multiple different bunnies from them. Each of the bunnies has their own personality and their own distinct whatever it is that they do, kind of thing.
It's like almost each bunny has their own world developed. Yeah.
They
It's
just pluck them out of their world and just throw them into this one.
yeah. It's very interesting. Um,
Hmm.
So I would say for this show, do you have a favorite character?
I would probably say the white bunny.
Okay,
I can't remember her name, but the white bunny.
something.
The antics that they get
Yes.
into, and just her personality and in general. And she's so simple minded, but it's just so endearing and so funny.
Oh yeah.
Um, she'll get mad at Sunraku for doing this, that, or the other thing, and then he'll just be like, "You want a carrot? Carrot? Yeah, 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 that's fine. What are we talking about? I don't know. Give me a carrot." I'm like, "Oh my god."
For me, it's like I want to say the blacksmith rabbit.
Oh, she's good too.
Yeah. But then I'm also Pencilgon is kind of funny because so it's like right now I'm gonna say the blacksmith rabbit, but then recently Pencilgon is I'm like being
Hmm.
interesting, and I'm like so um yeah.
I don't know how I feel about her honestly, but
I would say
she goes up and she goes down on my list quite a bit.
yeah, yeah, she always up to some antics. Um, so I would say, what is the coolest moment that you or coolest moments that you like from the show?
I mean, you go first. I'll still think about
Okay.
mine.
I was let's see. As far as battles go, um, it's like this show doesn't have the crazy intense battles that solo leveling does, but
Oh,
when
the battle with the lycanthropy,
the
the battle with the wolf, the shadow
the
wolf,
first one or the second one?
the second
Okay.
one, when it was when the knight came with him and everything and all that other stuff happened.
Okay.
Because seeing her use her
Yeah.
ability, the apocalypse or whatever it
Yes.
was, I was like, holy crap!
Don't look directly at it; you'll go blind.
Yeah, no, that thing was intense.
Yeah.
And just
And
the
like
fact that
she said,
it was so brutal, but it had such a build up to get to it.
yeah. Like
But
she
it had
said,
a build up and it had a payoff.
yes. Like she, like at one point she's like, it's a pain in the ass to use, but it'll be really good.
Yeah.
Um,
And he was like, "You're not wrong. It was good."
yeah, I would say that yeah, and it's one of those actually it's like as far as the story goes, I like the fact that they almost didn't make it.
Mhm.
Like so far they've been able to pull out all the stops with the current members and never needed reinforcements. Um like with they would go in with a party of 3 or 2 or whatever, and they would always make it through. This is the first time where like in the middle of the battle they needed assistance, and then they added to their party, and then they were able to make it through. So I like the fact that he's
Yeah.
not invincible like that. It's also funny that the like a god is like, oh, you thought you really beat me? No, it's like stronger curse and see you later.
Yeah. That was just my shadow. What are you talking about?
Then oh yeah, and like as a beast, like where the beast would pause and then do something. I'm like, wait a minute, what are you up to? It's like I caught on to it before Sanraku caught on to it, and then he like kind of revealed what it was doing, and I'm like, oh, that's what that was. It's yeah, it's like that was a really really cool battle.
Oh, 100%. And then the fact that afterwards they show the company that works for it and her going, "Why did you make it so difficult? Why did you increase its AI? That's not no." It's like, "Oh, it wasn't supposed to be that in the beginning,
Yes.
but someone decided to go and change
Yes,
that,
he's
huh?"
like, my vision, you're messing up my vision. And she's like, nobody will want to play your vision. And they just start throwing fists at
Yeah.
each other. And the dude's like, calm down, gets
Mm,
kicked in the stomach, falls on the ground, and it's all right, next scene.
that poor guy.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would say mine is the robot samurai.
Oh, yeah, that was good too.
Yes. So just like with Zenshu, there was a moment where I feel like they could have done it differently. Um, and I want to get this out of the way first. Like right when he activated, the like right when he was about to activate the counter. What is that called? It's called something like the counter to his strike. He didn't have all the requirements first, and he's like, I can't activate it, and then like some silliness ensued, and she threw the thing and all that kind of stuff. Then he like got him, and then he was able to use it. I feel like that interrupted the flow of the climax of the fight. Yes, it was
Hmm.
silly. Yes, it was funny, but I'm like, this again. like how you said, sometimes he's like cool, and sometimes he kind of is silly, and I'm like, I I
Hmm.
don't I don't know how to execute that better, which is where I'm stuck. So I'm like, yes, it was silly.
Hmm.
Yes, it's
No,
true
I
to his
agree.
character. I kind of wish it was different, but it was kind of like saying I kind of want a different main character, and it's like I don't though. I'm like, so
Yeah.
so, but yeah, yeah, it's old peg leg robot samurai was really really cool. It's
Oh, I love that one too. By all means.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, it took all 3 of them. Used up all their resources, um, and then they finally were able to pull through. So that was a really really cool fight. Were there any other like I guess what do they call them colossi that they have fought before?
So they've only fought two. They've only fought the samurai and they fought the wolf. Those are the only ones
Okay.
they fought. They're on their way to figure out if they can fight the giant kraken,
Yes.
but that's to the extent.
And then
The one person that he's now teamed up with has fought, or at least been seen. I don't know if she like fought, but she's at least seen the dragon.
yes, she's encountered the dragon, which is where she gets that curse scar from. Uh,
Yeah.
so that basically lead like kind of like how you said with solo leveling, how they kind of like tease something that's coming up. It's like
Hmm.
that was the tease for the dragon. So we know that if not right after the octopus, eventually we're gonna be heading to the dragon.
Probably.
Um,
I don't know if it's going to be either the dragon first or if it's going to be the main body for the wolf.
that's true. Yes. Then yeah. So that's as far as the colossi are concerned. Um, basically, other than that, it's basically just unique scenarios that the characters keep coming across. Um,
Hmm.
and it's it's funny that Sunraku has racking up so many unique scenarios, and his pro gamer friend doesn't have any.
Yeah, and he just loves lording that over him too. How many unique scenarios do you have? Oh, yeah.
And then Pencilgon, she has been part of a really big uh clan, and then kind of sold them out. Just kind of turned a leaf.
Yeah, they're a bunch of they're a bunch of PKers.
Yeah. Um, And then now she's like, I'm not a PK anymore. I'm gonna be a good person. No, and immediately steals weapons,
No.
or at least tricks people into buying her weapons. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
Sells them bad information to get rid of her
oh,
debt.
that was so funny. Yeah, basically how they came across Lycagon the second time. It was like
Mm-hmm.
they're like, we got all of our intel, and like we know exactly where he's gonna show up because we're gonna do these things that will not affect the situation, and then be pissed off later and get beat up again.
Yep.
Oh, wait a minute! I just realized they're all gonna respawn somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What?
In one of the towns, at least.
What's good? They're gonna be pissed.
Oh, yeah. The next time we see them, they're gonna be extremely pissed because they're gonna feel like they've been lied to, which they
Oh
have
my
been. So
god! And Sunraku be making it so bad. It was already bad that they're like just drooling over. I think it's Imu. Imu is her name, the rabbit. So, yeah. Oh, that's gonna suck. Okay. Then as far as other unique scenarios, I don't.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Oh, another guy, another character that I think is cool in the series is the dad, Imu's dad.
No, the big
Yeah.
boss. Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yeah, he had that blacksmith song that was cool, and then he's like, "All right, I'm gonna peace out for like a season or two." And I'm like,
Yeah, you got to get the stuff for me before I can tell you what the heck's going on. And he's like, can't you just tell me what's going on? No, you gotta find the things before I can tell you what's going on.
"Yeah."
And
And
he's
I'm
like, goddamn fetch quests.
"Yeah," and it's very interesting that like because he's around like the dad's there, he's around for like maybe other characters, but because we're following Sunraku, he's basically gone. It's interesting.
Well, no, I think he's even missing from other characters too, because remember her brother was looking for him and couldn't find him.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's because he's in contact with Sunraku. Like, I'm curious if a character that has no affiliation with Sunraku or any of his other party members or anybody tied to them, if they will come across the dad. Like maybe they're in their own kind of like linked instance kind of thing, where it's like I don't know, because like the new character that just joined the party, she came across I don't know, because then whenever she went like they couldn't find the dad either. I don't know, where did he go?
Good question.
Okay, so yeah, as far as the story is going, we're basically mainly following Sunraku. A lot of the other characters are playing bigger parts. And yeah, I'm just curious to get to the. I love the way the show is like has distinct arcs where they're like, this is discovering the world. This is the bunny saga. This is what is it? The robot samurai saga. This is Wolf Again saga. This is Octopus saga. They do split the battles into like 3-4 parts, which is kind of Dragon Ball Z ish. But yeah, it's still interesting because the battles are they don't come to a stalemate. Like the battles are always evolving. They may drop in new things that we haven't seen before, but they're not just pulling things out of thin air. So
yeah,
I like the way the show's flowing. I'd say just like with the with the last show, I guess pick a few characters to go through, and then yeah. So let's just go with the main character. As far as him in the game world and him in the real world,
he's about the same. Let's be honest. There's really no difference. He can be a dick to people in the main world and the real world, and he can be a dick to people in the game.
yeah,
He's also very oblivious to everything else that's going around him that's not game related, because the knight that has a love interest in him, I mean, it's obvious to everyone in the real world, and it's obvious to people in the game that something's going on, and yet he's completely oblivious. As far as Sunwalker goes, he's pretty much a stereotypical protagonist. I don't think, honestly, other than some gamer moments he has, I don't think there's really a lot that would differentiate him from anybody else.
okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I do. I don't know. Yeah, because like other main characters, they have a skill, and it's usually not obvious. And for Sunraku, his skill is basically like everything that he's learned in worse games.
Well, he's able to like analyze and really break down what he sees in games. Like he was able to determine the wolf's attack pattern quite easily, whereas other people were just amazed and could never really see
Hmm.
that. So like he's played so much games, they really push the whole gamer aspect from him on that.
Yeah, especially like that glitch fighting game where it's like,
Hmm.
for me, I'm like, I guess I'm not. I know for sure I'm not that deep into games, but it's like compared to like other gamers. But it's like compared to the average person, I feel like I'm knowledgeable.
Yeah.
For me to look at that one game where he's like, "Oh yeah, I have a move where my foot stays here, but I slide like 30 feet back." I was like, "What kind of?" Game? I was like, "I've never run into any kind of glitches like this." It's um, or like the slingshot punches where your arms just like. I'm
Hmm.
like the weirdest glitch that I've come across in a game is like we're playing a cooking game that's just not the greatest, and then in the little world that they have, there's like a little soccer field, or there's a basketball hoop and a soccer ball, and there's also a soccer goal. And I'm like, I'm gonna play basketball with this soccer ball. So I'm over there playing around, and the other people that I'm playing with are in the kitchen messing with stuff. And then I'm satisfied with what I want to do, my little gamer moment where I'm like, I'm going to make this basket, even if it takes me 15 minutes. And then I make the basket. I'm like,
Hmm.
yes! And then I run back into the kitchen, and one of the paintings on the wall is like in the middle of the kitchen, slowly sinking into the ground. And I just walking in, I'm like, what's up with this picture? And they're like, we don't talk about the picture. And I'm just like, okay, I guess we're ignoring this floating painting. And then we just go back to the game. So it's like, those are the kinds of glitches I come across. But yeah, it's interesting to see like
Hmm.
the master of glitches, like a group of people who are like the master of glitches and like gaining an advantage because of
Oh,
the
for sure.
weird stuff that you see in other games. So that's interesting. For you, Emu, like she's like secretly strong.
I don't necessarily say her strong. I would say she just is very versatile, and she's. If I had to say anything in gaming wise, she's a good support. She's really good at
Mm-hmm.
supporting Sunraku.
Okay.
I mean, and she's versatile in the fact that like you can teach her new spells and have her learn those. But beyond that, I mean, for me, just being her favorite character is just because she's just quirky and she's kind of the craziness to Sunraku's sometimes straight lacedness that he has every now and then, but her quirkiness can is a way for Sunraku to be able to have his moments of quirkiness where it doesn't seem like it's so far fetched kind of thing.
Um. Yeah, I did like the one moment where he was about to die from fall damage in that one that swamp, and she like teleported him to land on top of the frog or whatever that boss was.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then like her just love of carrots is above everything else. Um and then I don't know, it's like her attachment to Sanraku, but then her also fragileness. There's like being an NPC, it's like you gotta be real careful.
Hmm.
I'm worried because he's like getting into more and more dangerous stuff, and it's like he leaves her at home because he knows it's gonna be dangerous, and then she just shows up. Sanraku up here, and he's like,
Yeah,
no.
she's a way to up the
Yeah.
stakes.
So I like the blacksmith rabbit because one, she's just skillful, and that's just I don't know a cool thing to see a character
Hmm.
be, and she's not gullible. Like you can't just BS her.
No, I also like her relationship with the Kate Sith,
Oh, yeah, that dude's annoying. He's like,
but because he's as annoying as he is, and she is as straight laced as she is, it really works well off each other.
yes, it's one of those things where it's like he's slowly showing like his competency to where I'm
Mm.
like, I guess you could be silly without annoying me. And he has I don't think has yet to become very like serious.
No.
So that's one thing as far as him I look forward to. Um, I wonder if we'll ever see that. I worry about the situation that will call that forward. But yeah, it's yeah, he's a good. Is that foil? I guess foil to the blacksmith.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say.
And yeah, it's like you can't pull anything over the blacksmith's eyes, but once you like give her an idea that she's actually into, it's like she's 100% on board.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
And then yeah, like bringing her the golden crystal scorpion, and she just blacked out from just seeing stuff that she's like, I never,
The
yeah,
shock.
like I never thought I'd ever see this in my life, and you got tons of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then it's like once she says her mind to something, it's like it's done, and he's like, I want some gauntlets made out of this stuff with the new skill you just got. She's like, all right, give me some time, and then she's like, done, and I'm like, that's really really cool. For the party that Sunraku's in, Pencilgon is interesting. It's like she started out as the villain, and she was scary, and then the game like opened up the soft side of her. She kind of got like she started to feel for the character in the scenario for the robot samurai, which is really cool. Um, and basically, she would destroy the world to like to make that scenario go through. And now that she's turning over a new leaf, she has this huge debt, which means she's going to be just terrorizing everyone until her debt's paid. And then I'm curious if she's gonna slow down once she's like paid off her debt, and now she could just earn money like earnestly, or is she still gonna terrorize people to get the money back, get up to the amount of money that she had before?
Oh, she's still gonna terrorize people, even if she didn't. She's still gonna terrorize people. Just don't get me wrong.
Yeah. So that's one thing as far as her arc I'm curious about. I'm also curious if
Mm-hmm.
the trio is gonna get involved in the octopus thing, or
I don't know because they're not involved in. They weren't really involved with the wolf
yeah.
thing.
So I'm curious if like when are they coming back? Like are they gonna come back for the dragon? The wolf part 3? Like and it's so interesting that like
Maybe.
monsters have like multiple parts. It's like wolf part 1, wolf part 2, and now we got a wolf part 3, maybe 4. I don't know. Um and it's like out of the colossi, is the wolf the strongest one? Is like that? Is that why they had to face it so many times?
I don't think so. It sounded to me like the. It sounded like it was like mid tier, if
Okay.
anything.
So then you have the pro gamer. It's like kind of lagging behind everybody else. It does make sense they're a pro gamer, so they have other like responsibilities. I did like the fact that he's like, I can, because the new game that I'm gonna be doing tournaments for has the same engine as Shangri-La Frontier. I can practice learning the engine and
You can
also have
use that
fun.
as an excuse.
So that's cool to see. Um, and then they haven't really showed like the tournaments and stuff that that character is like in, or like
I doubt we're gonna see
yeah,
those.
I'm curious about it.
We're following Sunraku. I mean, primarily we're gonna see what he
Okay.
does.
And then yeah, so other than that trio and the party members that the characters have run across, um, everybody else is kind of like either an obstacle or a piece of information.
It just pushes the story. It just pushes the story
Yeah.
along.
So, oh, the librarian dude.
Oh God, do we have to go into the
I
librarian,
can't
dude?
stand the voice of that character. Like,
I know I've heard that voice of that character from other
yes.
things. It's just so bad seeing it out of a little
And
girl.
not only like is it this little magical girl, it's all cutesy and dressed up. It's like, does she blink? Like, she's so stiff and robotic that it's just
No.
unsettling to look at, while also hearing that voice. And I'm just like, I can't. I'm like, please stop talking. And even when she was excited, she's like, oh, the book, give me the book. And I'm like, give him the book, so he'll shut up, please.
It's a little weird. It's a little strange.
But yeah, it's this is a very entertaining show. Like I'm loving watching this. Yeah, and I'm curious for the next saga. Like they just finished up with the Wolf Part 2, and they're heading over to the Octopus. We got us a couple new characters that we're gonna get to know on the way, and then we're gonna meet two other characters that we just met like right before these other two characters got introduced. So, um,
Hmm.
yeah, it's like it's fun. It's like let's
Oh yeah, it's an
yeah,
adventure. It's what adventuring should
yes.
be.